Vanguard rides again.
So, all right,
Yeah.
you brought this one to us.
Okay.
We're gonna lose
So
all our friends. You
yes,
don't
yeah,
fuck with me no more. What's good?
yes, yeah. I never liked you to begin with, but
That makes sense.
the reason it's just like I've been thinking about this for a while because like I would think about how our OG friend group we had like the crew and we had all these little adventures together and even Eric I mean EJ knows we have all these stories of all the crazy shit we did
Yeah.
things that happened to
Shout
us
out to
right
Torre.
and then slowly each person just started fading from the group. I remember at first I would think about that a lot and wonder why it happened, but then it's I just started to like you know, it's like I just started to realize there were negative things about these friendships to begin with. From I guess
Correct.
we were immature, we were childlike, and over time, I guess we grew. And I just started thinking about how you grow. You grow beyond your friends eventually. Sometimes you're just gonna have to leave some niggas behind.
You know,
Or
I
they
actually
leave you
was having a
behind.
conversation with one of my friends
Or
about
they
that.
leave you behind. Yeah.
Uh,
What?
when I was at college, I was having a conversation with one of my friends about that exact thing. I think I said it's like yeah, like when you're, especially when you like separate and you like see people stagnating, you're like, well, even if I like we're cool and we can chat, like if I suddenly start doing this much better, doing this, that, and the third, say say you, for the simple example, say you just start making more money than all your other friends, like you're just gonna start doing stuff that they can't do with you, and like you're gonna start having experiences that they just won't be able to share with you. And I'm not saying that money automatically cuts you out of being someone's friend or anything, but for the sake of this very simple explanation, you will just start experiencing things, learning different things because of that barrier, right? Like those want to do things that you probably don't even want to do anymore, you know? Like you literally just start looking at the world differently. I was talking to my homie about this the other day because he was like, you know what I did, what I would never do. Like he was like, he was talking about how he was cold because he went up into, I think it was Boston. He was in Boston. He didn't expect to be that cold, and he was like, back in high school, if I ever was this cold, I would never go out and just buy a jacket. And he was like, nah, it's only a couple bucks. And he just bought a new jacket right then and there. So some stuff that he would never have done when he was younger, you know. And money does change you. It's not always for
Yeah.
the worst, but it changes you.
Yeah. I mean, do you have anything to say on the topic?
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot, man. It's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many reasons why you might grow distant from somebody. It might be because of them. It might be because of you. A little bit of both. And it's not always negative though. It's not always negative. Like,
Exactly.
sometimes sometimes it is. Might be a disagreement or just you had enough of that shit. But sometimes people move on in life. It might be a job change, a career change, or they get a girlfriend, they get married, kids, and tend to isolate themselves. And through that isolation, it's not intentional. It's not like let me find a way to move further away from them. It's just that's where your life is leading you. It's leading you in a direction that is becoming distant from others, and also to achieve the goal that you want to achieve in your life, whatever it is. um a lot of that is by being alone or doing things that's away from other people, and focusing on yourself.
Yeah, making some
So
Yeah,
sacrifices.
it's funny that we started talking about this because when I first thought about this hadn't happened, but I reconnected with some old friends that I used to have, and we were all just bonding over the cringe thing because
yeah.
like we were all heavily on the internet, and my sense, our sense of humors were jacked. Like if you met me when I was a teenager, right, my sense of humor is still jacked, but back then,
I remember you. I remember you.
yeah,
You were
it would be like you were talking to someone who was schizophrenic.
you would have
Like my
gotten
joke,
canceled day one. You would have
my
showed up on the
jokes
internet and got removed.
Yes, my jokes was like I was channeling ghosts or some shit. Like it's like I would tell. It's like it was weird. I'd make these very obscure references that nobody understood. They just thought I was being weird, but they would find it funny. So I'm like referencing fucking fucking clone labs of Hitler and shit, and they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm literally talking about like a book that I read, and they think I just made that shit up off the top of my head. But yeah, we were all just bonding over how cringe we were, and it's kind of the same thing happened. We each kind of drifted apart in our own ways, and it wasn't even negative. It's just we moved on with our lives. Like I stopped using the internet a lot, so I'm not going to talk to these people anymore. And we each went our own separate ways. And I feel like in our case, like me and Raytron here, we kind of experienced multiple versions of this. A few times, one of the first times we experienced it, it was very explosive. It was like an explosive thing where the other person had to make a statement. It was weird, right? Then we kind of experienced the whole just someone just disappeared. Like there was no bad blood, no animosity. Life
Nah, the
just seemed
very
to get in
first
the way.
time was a falling out.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying that was explosive. I'm saying the
Nah,
other.
because I think you mean when he like had to come back and say something. No,
Oh
no,
no,
no, no, no.
yeah,
I'm
that
talking
was an
about
idiot.
the other time where
Yeah, yeah. I decided I didn't see the point in really like differentiating the two because these people don't know. It's like I don't have to go through a detailed
well, yeah,
account.
it was two different falling outs then.
And
Yeah,
now
Yeah,
you're doing that. Now you're doing that, right? You usually does
yeah,
the detailed account.
yeah. There
I
were
wouldn't say it
two
was
really
detailed. It's not like I
explosive
gave you his
moments.
address. I couldn't. I'm stuck.
Two really explosive moments, and both of them were very bizarre. Um,
Which one
like
of you funny?
yeah, that's what the guy said to us. Never forgot that.
Which
And
one
I
of you
remember
funny bunnies told my girlfriend XYZ? I was like, what the hell
literally
is
it was
going
so
on?
bizarre that two of the people in the group at that time, my phone was going off, and I was sitting in bed. I looked at the phone. I could just sense that something stupid was about to happen. I didn't touch it. I left the phone and didn't do the shit. So when I entered it, it was already done. But anyways, the other time it was also explosive. One of our friends, he got into all that self-help bullshit, so he started thinking he was better than people.
Well,
Because
he
that's one
is. She's better than us.
that's
He's
one of the
college
toxic things
educated, bro.
that can happen
He
as
got a
you
good job.
because self-improvement can have two routes. You can self-improve and move beyond your friends because you're improving your life and improving yourself, or you could get into like sort of toxic self-improvement where you haven't really changed shit. Maybe your life has changed somewhat, but it has nothing to do with you. Your life just changed because you're lucky. You had a good life,
Something's
so your life
different.
changed, right? Your life changed. Like me and Ray had a certain background. This guy had a much better background. So his life was a certain way. It had nothing to do with him. He did. It's
Yeah,
not like he
indeed.
was special or anything, right? And then you get into self improvement, and that shit makes you think your brain is better than others. You're just like, oh, I'm just gonna walk around pretending that everything's all right and everything's good, and because I do that, that means I'm positive, and other people are negative. Time to remove them from my life.
Yeah,
you
nah.
know?
Yeah.
There was actually a pretty good video on how people from certain backgrounds can kind of confuse their fortunate, what's the word? I don't want to say
Circumstances
status. Yeah, their fortunate circumstances as
with
hard
actual
work,
success.
like stuff that they
Yeah,
earned and like they deserved. Which is
yeah.
like, look, man,
It's
someone
like,
earned it.
I'm not gonna shoot you
Someone's earned
down.
it, right? I'm like, I'm not
If you
gonna.
did the, yeah, if you did the bare minimum to keep yourself afloat, you still deserve respect. A lot of people don't even do that.
But I'm
But
not. If you start looking down on people because you got a job at your daddy's company, like
yeah, something's wrong.
something's
Something's wrong.
wrong with you, bro.
And the other two times it was just like someone just faded away from us.
Yeah,
Someone faded away.
yeah.
And it's like we've experienced it in all corners. So it's very interesting. But it's like when I was reflecting on this, I was thinking in my head how nothing of value was necessarily lost. And I'm not saying this is an insult to these people or anything like that. I'm saying it because I still have the memories of these really interesting things that happened and that kind of stuff. I still think about them sometimes and laugh. Like I remember goofy shit that we did or believed back then. It'll make me laugh. And then like it's not like not seeing that person has changed my life in any way. It's not like I'm sitting here just like I'll never see him again. It's like nothing's changed. Like I just moved on with my life. I was like, oh, I guess they don't talk to me anymore. I guess it's a little
Yeah.
different. Like, if you lose a girlfriend, there's like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like if not even just a girlfriend, if you like lose like your best boy, like
That still hurts.
homie,
Yeah.
that shit hurts. Especially if like
Yeah.
you're still trying to hold on to it.
Oh yeah.
If you're the one grasping at the straws and the other person's like, yo, bro, like just let it go.
Yeah. We're not
It
friends
feels
anymore.
it feels a kind of way. But
Yeah.
I want to say, fortunately, most of the times it was just like kind of mutual. I mean, besides the times where they blew up, but the other ones where they faded away, it was just like
I mean, even the
they weren't
blow up.
talking to me. I wasn't really talking to them. Even the blow up
Yeah,
ones, it's like I wasn't talking to
yeah.
me. They weren't talking to like I wasn't talking to them. It's just
So you never been that person that was holding on for dear life.
no. I don't think
Not well.
so.
I mean, I've had moments where I tried to keep the group together, that kind of stuff, but really not really. I get
Or what about somebody that you was trying to let go, but they wasn't trying to let go?
Yeah,
trying to think.
That's happened.
yeah.
Women.
I
I
wasn't
was
even
talking
talking about
about
women.
yeah, I was talking about just
With men,
yeah,
Yeah,
just your regular friends. Yeah,
I guess if I never maybe I'm not emotional enough to think about it. But there have been times when like people will just hit me up sometimes. And I haven't spoken to them in a long time. I guess that's what that is. Maybe they're trying to continue the connection,
I feel a lot
and
of
I don't
times that
feel it.
when that happens, it's like they were just bored and like, oh yeah, that person I used to talk to, and then like,
No, because I remember one of our friends did that. He like hit me up and wanted to hang out, and I
yeah.
did it.
I feel like I used to be that way.
you
I
were
don't know,
you're
and I
holding
don't know
on to
why.
things.
Yeah, I was holding on to things, and not even because the relationship was that close, but I just felt like
Yeah, I
I
get
don't
the
know. I feel like I needed. I don't know. I feel like I needed.
well.
It was before I came to the understanding
Oh,
of
let
like you
me
don't really. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. Let me reach the cap of this. Actually, now that well, I didn't even write it down, but it's something. I guess this is the ultimate point that I feel like is that should be made here. I do believe preserving friendships is a good thing because I feel like what happens is you grow out of your younger friendships that maybe there were some toxic things because even our old friendships they were like there was a little like negative traits there that were just kind of goofy that were gonna grow up. But like eventually, I think you will settle on a group of people who share your values and things like that, and these are the people you probably will be friends with for a long time. Like the friends you're gonna make as an adult are probably going to be long term friends as opposed to the friends you made when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of
Yeah.
toxic friends, not saying that we had too many. It's just I've definitely noticed that like people are really afraid of making new friends, so they will really sit there in a friendship that they don't necessarily like. And
Yeah.
like you'll meet them and they'll like someone will sit there and talk to you about their friend and you're like, so where's the part where you like this person? You know, it's like oh, I just met you today, and all you've done is say like the worst stuff about this person. You know,
Yes.
and like I'll do that about Gio, right? Like I'll be like, yeah, man, I hate that man. He does all this stupid shit. But you know,
Mm.
I won't. That won't be the only thing I say about him. Like bro, off rip, if I meet you today, I'm like, yeah, he's a cool guy. Like he's real smart. He can do all this stuff. But if you're my homie, then I'm like, man, this is the worst person I know.
Yeah.
Like because we are close enough friends where I'm like, yeah, I will just like
Yeah.
rag on him. But I'm not doing that to strangers, you know. And like I've had strangers just start shitting on like their so-called best friend. I was like, what do you like about this person? You know, it's so weird, especially in college. A lot of people like their freshman friends. They just they grasp on like they latch on and never let go. And freshman friends never last that long. They never
Yeah.
last that long.
Yeah. Like the friend group I made when I first got to college, yeah, they got annoying real fast. I kind of stopped talking to a lot of them because they were like one very PC kind of people, and it just got too much to handle. I couldn't deal with it anymore. I was like, don't want to hang out with these people because like I went to college, you meet this supposedly smart crowd, and this is why when we would have those conversations, DJ, where you'd say to me stuff like, oh, you were worried that you weren't well versed enough in certain topics. I remember I said to you, I was like, people who think they know everything or sit there researching shit all the time are usually not that intelligent to begin with. Because like I experienced it so many times. Like when I was in college, I met the supposedly smart people that thought they were better than everyone else. And like I remember even one time I got drunk once, and I remember one of them was trying to like shame me for it. Like I got drunk and they were like, "I never thought you were one of those." That's what they said to me. I was like, "What the fuck?" And I remember it's just over time as I hung out with the frat guys who were supposed to be these dumb meatheads, right? They would be very thoughtful. They had great opinions on things. They were very sociable people. And I'm looking at the weirdos that are supposed to be so smart, and all they do is they pride themselves on the fact that they're alone, and their aloneness makes them special. And I just like,
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
there's a yeah.
Bro, speaking specifically of cliques, like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm not gonna lie, those weird kids ain't it. Like,
Yeah, I had to
those
get
weird kids
not
ain't it,
all
bro.
weird kids are no.
Yeah,
See,
not all weird kids are like that, right? Because like we here technically, right? But I'm talking about those like stereotypical movie weird. Yeah, nah, those
I have a
they do.
parallel.
See, look at this weirdo right here. Anyway, so no, like speaking of those stereotypic movie weird kids, like those guys are just doing the same stuff, right? Just with their friend groups. Like they
Yes.
getting drunk with their homies. Same
Yep.
thing. They're doing
Yep.
wild acts of debauchery. Just
Yep.
you just not gonna know about it because they didn't throw a party for 1,500 people. They just went into in the woods with like six of
Like
them and did some
drank
weird
some
shit.
wine and shit. Yeah.
And bro, I remember I was literally part of this one friend group. Not a part of it actually. It was like I was in this club of like the so-called
Yeah, you
nerds,
trying to
like
distance
the
yourself
good
from your
kids.
friends, bro?
Um, bro, they'd probably hex me. But like, bro, the wild stuff that I heard about this friend group, because they were so good friends, bro. They were about to sue each other for defamation and libel. And I was like,
Yeah.
bro, because they brought out, they were like, I'm gonna sue you. Apparently, they were secretly recording each other.
What
Uh,
the fuck?
they, they were going in, bro. And it was, bro, it was over a club. Like who's running the club and how they didn't like how the club was being run sometimes. And I was like, so y'all don't just talk about it? I'm like, hey,
All right, guys. I
actually,
think that's enough for now.
nah, seriously, like literally, we sit down and we talk about where this podcast or whatever else we're gonna do is gonna go. I will literally be like, all right, if you want to go that way, time out. How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna get from A to B? Like who's doing what, right? Like we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation about it. And like clearly it's a lot easier because there's only three of us. But I was like, so y'all, instead of having a conversation, you're just gonna sit there stewing in your anger, waiting for it to boil over, and then you're gonna secretly record people, and then wait for people to graduate and be like, I'm running this town now. It's like, yo,
Wait, so it was like a blackmail thing?
I don't know, cause everything I got was secondhand, kind of, cause I was on their Facebook where they were just Twitter fingers, bro, going at each other. E-board attacking E-board, like staff, like not staff, members attacking staff, and like there was probably way more that was going on. Cause like I said, these were friends. Like you know, like how the only way to be really part of a club is to be friends with everyone in the club. So everyone who's really into the club were like besties, dapping each other up. I'm pretty sure they were having orgies, bro. It was weird. So I'm sure there are messages I ain't see,
Definitely
stuff
from the
I
cop.
ain't hear about, and I was just like, yeah, I'm glad I'm over here on this side. Because
See,
me and
that's
my
another
other friend we weren't really deep into it. We were just looking at this, being like, damn, bro. We were sitting there waiting for updates with Popper, and we're like, oh my god.
See, that's the other thing. Having those large friend groups. That's when y'all secretly don't like each other and shit, and you just around each other, but you guys actually kind of hate each other. That's what
Yes,
with those
bro.
huge
If
Yeah.
you have
friend
like
groups.
a
That's
group of,
always the case.
I feel like if you have a group more than 7,
Yeah.
you,
It's like there'll just be one person in the group who hates another person, and he only told two other people, and they'd be sitting there talking shit about that person. Like, oh my god, I hate Jared. Don't invite him to my birthday party. And like Jared has no idea that these people hate him. And, it's like it's crazy, man.
bro, literally, like I was telling you about that one person in that one friend group, how everyone's like, I can only talk to him in small bursts, and that small burst was 5 minutes. That was it. They were like, yeah, he's not so bad if you only talk to him for 5 minutes. I was like, then don't talk to him, bro.
Yeah, if you got to begin a sentence with "he's not so bad," you know.
Because like I'm telling you, there was not a single time that anyone could like sit there and spend a day with the guy. Like sit down, like not even actually, I had a one-on-one with him and he's not. No. It was always like, yeah, if you only talk to him for 5 minutes for a
Even
few.
the guy,
It was like, yo, you're not his friend. Stop
yeah.
using him before the homework. Stop fake inviting him somewhere because you just needed a fifth or some shit. Like cut that shit out.
even the guy that we, sort of had our issues with, even like him, like I would notice if you're with him by yourself, it would be a lot easier. Like that's actually one of the few things I did think about him. It's like when I was with him alone, he's actually a tolerable, normal, normal guy. It was only when I was in groups with him that suddenly he would start acting a fool and things would be like dealing with him by yourself. Everything's all right. He'll say something stupid every once in a while, but who doesn't say something stupid? And you can have a normal, interaction. But then when you were in groups, that's when he'd start doing things that didn't make any sense. I don't know, maybe it's social anxiety. I don't know why it's
I
like
know
that.
exactly why.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Anyway, so it's not that you'll lose all your friends. It's just like you'll find
I said
other ones.
almost. I want to put almost.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like reading the clarifier, the qualifier. So it's like, look, man, it's not a bad thing necessarily. Like we said, a lot of the friendships they just like kind of stop talking. Like, bro, I remember because like even me and you stopped talking as much when I was at college because it was like, bro, I was busy. I was
Yeah,
busy.
he was busy fucking bitches. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
$50,000. I better no. Nah, bro. When I look back to my college experience, I was like, yeah, I was really waking up at 8 a.m. to go to bed at 1 a.m. to wake up at 8 a.m. Like I was working 2 jobs, and I was still
Working
broke.
double.
Like, like that shit was crazy. That shit was
Two
crazy.
jobs.
I don't know, man. Any final
Still,
thoughts
bro.
on the matter, guys?
Final thoughts is, bro, you will lose some of your friends. It is not that bad. I'm not saying to look forward to it or anything, but sometimes you gotta step back and,
Yeah.
especially if it's a falling out, you gotta step back and he's like, why are we having this falling out? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like if you're having a falling out, maybe it's time for you to just sever ties. If you won't even notice a fade, so I can't even give you advice for that. Like if you do notice the fade and you're trying to hold on, maybe just let go. Maybe let go. Unless you notice that it's some sort of like issue, like one of the friends we had at one point, they were going through some stuff. They were very recluse for a while, but brought them back, got them out. I didn't say we got them out, but they got over it kind of, and it's normal now ish. So that's what I gotta say.
Yeah, I was pretty much the follow up on that. I feel the same way. People got to become more comfortable being alone. I think that's what it took me some time to do that. Because it was like I feel like growing up, it never and then that understanding never came to me about like, you don't really need to have people around. You don't need friends, even though that's what you see all the time is how many friends this person has, and then once you start realizing that it's not about the quantity of friends, but the actual quality of them, and instead of just holding on to something that is not really a friendship, and you just
I don't
want
know,
their
man.
company,
Disney
you
been
want their
telling you.
company,
Disney been
but
telling you, bro.
yeah, you want their company, but that company it comes with negativity. It comes with um, you know, some resentment that's there. So just really getting used to the fact that like it's okay, um, to embrace that lonely life. Not saying that means you have to resort to having no friends, but I rather at this point in my
Go
life,
monk
I can't
mode,
speak for
bro.
everybody.
Yeah, man. No
I
friends and
rather I rather I rather have no friends than 10 that I'm just keeping around for the sake of having to say to people, yeah, I got friends. Like I got people that I chill with. Like nah, like if they're not bringing, not even this sounds like um
Nah, I get it.
it
It's not
sounds
like your
it
friends
sounds
have to
like
do something for
yeah,
you, but if they're
it's not
not
like it
doing
has to be
nothing for you,
perks. It doesn't have to be rewards, benefits,
Ultimately, they are doing something for you, even if you don't want
but
to that way.
yeah, you know
yeah,
what I'm
they
saying? It's
don't.
like,
That doesn't have to be no financial gain or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it just
Yeah.
in a sense of like if they bring you value, I guess value, some
let's
type
say
of
joy.
value.
Like if they're not bringing you joy, what
Really,
you doing? What you doing?
Yeah,
If you're not enjoying your friends, like if you don't like see, like, ah, my boy was good. Like,
yeah, value.
what we
It's
doing?
like you said, value was a great way to
yeah,
put it. They gotta bring you value. But
yeah.
I mean, my final thoughts. I'm never talking to these guys again. Vanguard out.